Hey guys, check this out. Check out my new Digatron 4-panel display. That's what you're gonna get to see hooked up here today. Keep watching. So I ditched the hood, I got no tach, I've got no water temperature, and that's no good. Doesn't help us at all. So I gotta have something that tells me all that. And this little baby right here, well, that's gonna do it. So I've just taken this supplied bracket, trimmed off the edges a little bit, and it looks like it's gonna fit in here really nicely, in between this nice PowerModz riser. I might bend it up a little bit to help see it when I'm driving, but you know what? That's gonna be pretty nice. There we go. Let's see where all those cables go. So let's see what we got in this box. Of course, we have our digital display, thank you note for buying it, some cool stickers. It's a little protective cover that goes over it because it keeps the snow and elements off the top. Mounting instructions for the handlebars, instruction manual for the Digatron unit itself. And you get 2 EGT probes. This looks like the power hookup, water temp, and that's the data download cable. Now this is going to come in handy when we're on the trail. We're going to be driving around this winter. We're going to pull some data off, see how our sled's running. Now, first thing we're going to do, we're going to start with these 2 EGT probes. I already have 2 bungs welded in the pipe. Come on, check it out. Anyway, I tacked these 2 ports on earlier. And you got your nice little instructions right here. It says check with engine manufacturer for exhaust sensor probe location as it varies. Well, you know what? I tried to call Skidoo and they weren't very helpful. So it says that we can mount these things within 1 inch to 12 inches from the manifold. All right, so here's the easy part. Slip the nut over top of the thermocouple. Slip your compression fitting on. If I measure from the top of the pipe to the bung, it's to there, and about halfway down again, that's there. Just leave that in light like that. I want to figure out which way I'm going to route my wires up to the digital display. Go in, right about there. So now we're installing the water temp sensor. Now you have a couple different options here. You can either use an inline probe that goes in your hose, your cooling hose itself, or if you get lucky like what we did, on top of this thermostat housing here, there was a little Allen key bolt. I removed that. They also tell you in the instructions that you don't remove your old water temp sensor. You leave that hooked up, you leave the wires hooked up to it, you find yourself a new place to put it. And that's what we did. That's pretty darn easy right there. Okay. Put that up. You know, I think before I go any further, I'm going to mount this Digatron. I'm going to route my wires up, and then I got to route my power cable into this. Where am I here? This is this. That's my water temp. All right, so just hook these up. You know, these are clearly marked. So you just go through here and plug them in where they're supposed to go. Now I'm not really sure how well this is going to keep the water out. So I see that this one's capped. I'm going to find some of those little caps to put on these too, because you know I'm a little worried. It might be out in the rain some days. I don't want this thing to get wet. Now it does come with a protective covering you can put on here. I'm going to do that. I might even take this off and disconnect it when we're coming home so it doesn't get all wet on the trailer. Got my Digatron wiring all hooked up, but we need power to that thing. And according to the manual, the power you got to get comes in AC current before you hit the converter block there, or the regulator. So we got to get that from this yellow wire on your Skidoo, on the Bombardier models, right here. I'll pop this off. I hate splicing into wires, but this is one of those things that we got to do because it's going to be a really nice addition to the sled, and we'll do a nice clean job of this as well. I don't want to splice too close to this plug in case something goes wrong. Won't have enough room left to splice it again. Okay, so we've got our 2 yellow wires and our black. They want us to go into one of the yellows I'm gonna do that right here. Handy little wire strippers that I got from Princess Auto. Look at that. I've got this piece of heat shrink here. You got to remember to slip this over the wire before you do the work, because you won't get it on afterwards. Now, this is my power for my Digatron right here. Fused, of course, which is a good thing. Put your heat shrink over top, out of the way. There we go. There we go. Yeah. So before we go any further, we're going to lower it down. We're going to start up the sled, see if we have power to our new Digatron. Now we're going to drop this sled. We're going to try running it up, see how that Digatron works. Now this pipe I'm using here, that's off an 800 rev. And we're just putting it on real quick because our pipe isn't done at Jaws. But we're going to go get that later today. Now we know we have power up to the Digatron, everything's working. We're gonna clean this up here. We can't have these wires just laying around in here like that. So I've got this split loom. I'm gonna cover everything up, make sure everything's nice and tidy. Now, if I had a recommendation for Digatron, I'd say make this a quick disconnect. You can just pop this thing off. Maybe a different kind of connection on here, something that's a little more waterproof, because you know, I know that they make these for all different applications. They might be inside a car, they could be inside a 4x4, on an ATV, on a dirt bike, who knows, right? So everything is different. But for our use, you know, being able to pop that off really quickly, that might be a good thing. But I'm loving this thing so far. We're gonna go out and try it on the trail and in the powder and pull some data off it. One other thing to keep in mind is the software that comes with this, it's only PC compatible. You can't use it with your Mac. Now, I'm a Mac guy, I've got a couple Macs. So I have an old PC laptop at home. I'm just going to use that. We can pull it out in the field and do all the stuff that we have to do. So keep that in mind. Not compatible with a Mac. Digatron, everything's Mac these days. I got to thank the guys at DigatronUSA.com for sending this. You know, that's a really nice addition to our sled. We lost all that extra weight of all those gauges on there. These nice LEDs blow up really nice and bright if we're going to over temp or run our exhaust gas temperatures too high. It's a nice warning symbol. That's what I want. And then it's going to also keep track of all that information, the way we're running this sled, pull it onto the computer, check everything out, sit around, have a couple drinks, and see how our sled's been running. So thanks a lot, you guys. If you like my videos, make sure you subscribe, hit a big old thumbs up. When you call Digatron USA to buy one, tell them Louis Skibo sent you.